What is going on, guys, and welcome to the SmackDown Live review. How long this will be, I do not know, but I'll go as long as we can. We'll talk everything. Whoa. Is it still working? I believe so. We might have had a technical problem there with the microphone. If we did, I do apologise. But welcome to SmackDown Live review. At the end, we're going to be doing that points thing, the Battle of the Brands, Miz TV and Orton, Battle of the Brands will be continuing at the end, so just stay tuned for that. But we're going to get into SmackDown, and we're going to go through it in chronological order, me talking about the first SmackDown Live and my thoughts on it. It started off very similar to Raw, with just instead of having Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon out with the whole roster, it was Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. SmackDown keeping the announcers in a similar position, the set looking a little bit similar, but I suppose a little bit different at the same time. New theme song for SmackDown as well. Not as much in love with that one as Raw's from a first glance, but who knows? You never ever know. And yeah, so the feel to SmackDown, again, different feel to Raw. That's all we could ask for, really. And this opening segment, the only criticism I would have is that it didn't say anything about the women's division, so it was kind of a bit awkward that they were standing ringside. But other than that, a segment that highlighted but again, like on Raw, set up big matches for the night. It set up that six-pack challenge for Dean Ambrose's, for a number one contendership for Dean Ambrose's WWE Championship, and it also put in. What was I talking about? Also, the Battle Royal for the 6th members to enter that six-pack challenge. Like on Raw, so we had two big matches that was announced, and yeah, it was the whole start of it was a bit fresh and a bit different as well. So I didn't mind that at all. So that wasn't too bad at all. Decent start to the show, much like Raw. We then had the Battle Royal. Now, I usually like Battle Royals. This one was okay. There was a couple of botches. Zack Ryder botched at least 2 times. He missed a drop kick. He missed an elbow, slipped on the rope. Luckily, he was okay. Didn't really like how Kane was seen as the big dominant force in this match. That should have been given to well, Baron Corbin wasn't in the match, to be fair, but it should have been given to someone else. But the winner I was happy with. It was who I wanted to win. Apollo Crews won the match and ended the 6-man tag match. Not a bad way to start the show. And yeah, decent match. Okay, so it's not going to be a contender for match of the week, but a decent one nonetheless. So yeah, I mean, as I say, not a bad start to say the least. Not excellent, not mind-blowing, but a solid start to the show. And we saw Kalisto, Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley all looking good in the Battle Royal. I do feel like this Battle Royal though highlighted the kind of lack of mid-card in SmackDown, and that could prove to be a problem. However, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but there is 2 new acquisitions to the SmackDown roster, which will certainly help out the mid-card. And I would then say SmackDown's 1 or 2 stars away from being a very, very, very solid show. And I'm looking back at when I used to love SmackDown, when you used to have Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, Edge, Christian, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, Undertaker, Kane when he used to be good. You know, that was such a solid roster, Wade Barrett. And on paper, maybe it didn't look incredible and it didn't set the world alight, but it was a really, really good roster. And hopefully SmackDown can come back to that bit, because there was a time, I think 2010, 2011, where I enjoyed SmackDown more than I did Raw, and then they obviously fucked it all up. We then saw Becky Lynch versus Natalya, and it always annoys me when you have a match at a pay-per-view, then you have a rematch on the following show, and the result changes. It's 50-50 booking. It really annoys me. They should have just, if they were going to have Natalya win, why have a win at Battleground if they're not then going to get a win the second time? I mean, I'm happy Becky Lynch won, so I'm kind of contradicting myself, because Becky Lynch, I wanted to be the mainstay, the top guy in the women's division, but I was a little bit like, what the fuck. The match, decent, nowhere near as good as Sasha Banks Charlotte if we're going to compare the Divas matches, which we could do that as a point system. The best Divas, I keep saying Divas, best women's segment or match of the show. We could do that, but I'll think about that next week, possibly implementing that into the Battle of the Brands. But yeah, a decent match, Becky Lynch getting the winner, and then we saw everyone else come out. So we saw Naomi, Eva Marie, oh my god, yeah, I know, Alexa Bliss, who I love, and Naomi, and Carmella as well. I think I said Naomi first, I don't know, I probably felt that all up and said them 100 times, but we saw them come out, still again for like one or two missing, and I do feel like they need a title, they need some sort of something to aim for, otherwise, why are they fighting? Why would I care that Alexa Bliss or Becky Lynch, what are they fighting for? There needs to be a championship, whether, I don't know though, whether I want to see 2 women's championships. It could just get a little bit too much. It's going to be the same with the tag team division, which wasn't highlighted this week, but next week you will get to see American Alpha in action on WWE SmackDown. If you haven't seen them in action, just you wait till you see them next week. We then saw Randy Orton and the Miz TV. I don't mind this new Randy Orton. I quite like it. He's a bit edgy, saying some stuff that perhaps you wouldn't expect, shouldn't be said. I like that. And here, I suppose this match was to showcase Randy Orton as a threat to Brock Lesnar, but also not to bury or squash The Miz, which is something that happened. Hit the RKO twice. The commentators as well were mentioning how that RKO could be the equaliser to Suplex City. And just basically building Randy Orton's pedigree up, because he's been away for 9 months, and expect him to probably face Miz like he has this week, face somebody else next week of relatively, upper mid card, and to get some wins under his belt before Brock Lesnar's, or for the match at SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar. We then saw The Miz vs Randy Orton, which I just said, and then we saw Heath Slater come out, and I did like that. Obviously he wasn't drafted, so I can see him going on SmackDown. I think that's probably the best option for him. It's all about opportunity, as Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon said. But what I was so happy about was seeing Rhino. I just loved it. WWE feels different, and I love it. It feels new, it feels fresh, it feels like a new era. I feel excited again. I'm jumping off my seat 3-4 times during a show. That just didn't happen. Whether that can continue, who knows? But all I do know is that I am jumping up and I'm actively caring about every match and every result. And I'm really enjoying the 5 hours that we got this week, and cannot wait for the following week's Raw and SmackDown. And I haven't felt so excited before about WWE in such a long time. It really is a really fun time and a really exciting time. And I said about the brand split that I was sceptical, and I'm still sceptical. But I have to say, this first week has been very, very special. Heath Slater, obviously coming out saying he wants to be signed. Bang! Gore, gore, gore. Rhino is there, and he hits a gore on Heath Slater and introduces himself to the SmackDown roster as that free agent. Sign now, you would expect to SmackDown. That helps the mid-card especially. Now, I said there's a couple of acquisitions. Maybe Heath Slater will be a third. That will help the mid-card, not the upper mid. Well, I suppose it will help the kind of lower to mid-card. He could be a good mid-card. It just depends how they book him. Rhino, definitely a good, solid mid-carder. But the big one that we're talking about, I am so excited about this. This is my dream, ladies and gentlemen. If I had to pick a person to return for months, for years, every Royal Rumble that's come along for the past 3 years, I've been wanting to see Shelton Benjamin come back, and he is back. Can you believe it? Shelton Benjamin exclusively on SmackDown. I'm so happy about that too. Cannot wait for him to come back, and I jolly well hope he is pushed to the ceiling, because this guy is incredible. Cannot wait for Shelton Benjamin to come to SmackDown Live. He is coming soon. No word officially on the date as of yet, but this is going to be incredible when he does. And that SmackDown roster looking very, very solid now with Rhino, Shelton Benjamin and Heath Slater. Maybe still 1 or 2 missing. One for the women, one for the thingy, before it's a fantastic roster. We then saw the 6-pack challenge. This was very close, and this is what's really going to be the one to challenge Raw's match of the week. What a show. What a match, sorry. Bray Wyatt, Apollo Crews, AJ Styles, Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, John Cena. Am I the only one that wants to see Bray Wyatt face AJ Styles? That has WrestleMania headline for the WWE Championship written all over it. I would pay so much money to see Bray Wyatt versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Bray Wyatt face, AJ Styles heel. That, my friends, would be freaking incredible. And Bray Wyatt, the way he turned on AJ Styles in the match, that got me off my seat. And it just hasn't been happening recently with WWE. Them sort of little moments. I put it this way, my mate says it, Lyle, WWE at the moment has been kind of to the point where you can kind of sit back on your chair and just sort of watch it and have no real reaction. I don't know. I can't not have a reaction these last two episodes, or the first episode of SmackDown, the first episode of Raw. I have to keep getting up off my seat. It's forcing me because I'm excited and I'm enjoying the show. Before, it just wasn't the case. I was able to sit back and have no real reaction. Maybe I'd go, yes, Kevin Owens has won, or oh my god, he's there, or what a move that was. But now I'm getting up off my seat. I wanted Dolph Ziggler to win this match. He freaking well did. Literally, all the big matches so far, everyone who I wanted to win has won. The only one that didn't was Roman Reigns, but I was okay because I wanted to see Finn Balor Roman Reigns. Finn Balor then won. We then saw Apollo Crews win. I wanted that to happen. We then saw Sasha Banks win. I wanted that to happen. And Dolph Ziggler wins. It's all about opportunity. Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose. Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar. John Cena versus AJ Styles. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. Holy motherfucking shit. SummerSlam 2016 is looking good. Brooklyn fans must be absolutely salivating in the mouth because SmackDown, SummerSlam even, is going to be something very, very special. Corbin, Apollo Crews, big spots for the show today. Disappointing kind of that Alberto Del Rio didn't sneak into the 6, but I was happy that Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin got the nod. I want to see Alberto Del Rio be one of those members that maybe doesn't get an opportunity initially and goes a little bit crazy and just sort of goes on a roll. And Alberto Del Rio on a roll will really, really go close to top. He could definitely be fighting for the world title. That is without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe he goes after The Miz in the IC title. Alberto Del Rio is a face. I don't mind seeing that. Baron Corbin, Apollo Crews, that would be a nice little feud for them to get involved in. But yeah, very, very good show from SmackDown. Raw, I gave an 8 out of 10. Let's get on to the brand split then. The Battle of the Brands. So that's the end of my SmackDown review. Very, very good opening show. Not as good as Raw, dare I say it. So I've kind of spoiled the brand split points in a minute. Not as good as Raw, but still very, very good. And yeah, very, very good match. 6-pack challenge. Happy Dolph Ziggler's there. And the 2 main events for each show at SummerSlam looking good, as Booker T would say. So yeah, Ziggler, Finn Balor. I mean, it's a face versus face. Oh no, I suppose it's not. Seth Rollins isn't a face, but kind of face versus face, because let's be honest, Seth Rollins is a face, and face versus face on SmackDown. I'm looking forward to Seth Rollins, Finn Balor more, because that's just a dream match for me personally. But Ziggler and Ambrose, I'm looking forward to as well, and I would love to see Dolph Ziggler win the title at SummerSlam, but we'll have to wait and see. Ziggler could finally be getting that push that he has deserved, and it is welcome, and I'm so happy and so proud. I don't know, I sound like his dad, that is going to happen. No on Shelton Benjamin. I do understand he is old, so I'm not getting overexcited. But even if he's only there for a year, it would just be really entertaining and really awesome to see him back. Let's have a look then at the Battle of the Brands thread that is going on Twitter. I might even pin it as my pinned tweet, just so that people can see it if you want to. Follow me on Twitter at MrWWEcam if you want to see the Battle of the Brands thread. But at the moment, Raw 10, SmackDown Live 25. Now, what we've got to do is we're going to add on for Raw the 8 points from yesterday for that 8 out of 10 show. SmackDown, a rating out of 10. I'm going to give it a solid 7. So a solid show. So 7 points there for SmackDown. That then means, obviously, Raw getting the 10 points for the better show for the week, and SmackDown not getting anything. The best segment, or the best moment, we're going to call it the best moment of Raw. I think Raw again wins it. You got to give it for Sasha Banks and Finn Balor. I can't choose between them two. Ziggler's just doesn't really live up to what it did with SmackDown. It's just not that. Yes, I'm so happy, don't get me wrong, but them two just better moments. So another 10 points there for Raw. The ratings will be added on midweek when we get them. The match of the week, I'm gonna say it has to go to Monday Night Raw. The 6-pack challenge came close, but to be honest with you, I could have picked any 3 of the Raw matches, or 4 of the Raw matches. They were all spectacular. Raw has to get the 10 points. I think Finn Balor, Roman Reigns with match of the week. We're going to do Divas match of the week, or women's, sorry, fuck, I keep saying Divas. Women's segment or match of the week, best women's division moment or whatever. Just basically who had the better women's portion of their show, if you get what I mean. and that's going to be a 5-pointer, and that is going to go to Raw 2. So if we add up how many points Raw got, it got 43 points added on to its thingy, so it's on 53 points. Is Monday Night Raw SmackDown, who was in the lead coming into the first show, is now trailing by 21 points. The rating still to come. That's a big 10 points. I think Raw had a very good rating. So we'll have to wait and see if SmackDown can beat it. But if I'm looking at the rating, and when I say rating, I will do viewing figures. So it'll be it will be the actual rating, not the viewers. So it scored a 2.36, which was up from the 2.22 rating the show did last week. The show did 3.39 million viewers, which is up 200,000 viewers from 3.133 million. The average the show did last week. Hour 1 averaged 3.4. 1 hour 2 drew 3.3 million viewers. And the final hour, which saw Finn Balor become the #1 contender, drew 3.2. So a slow decrease as the hours go, but that's not too bad, especially being as though the Democratic National Convention was going on at the same time. And we're noting here as well, ABC's The Bachelorette, or The Bachelor, or The Bachelorette, I don't know what that is, was going on as well. So basically, that 2.36 rating to be beaten. If you want to see that updated, it will be on my Twitter at some point this week. If not, wait and tune in for next week. Well, I announce it at the start of the Raw Review, or even maybe the Raw Preview. I will see you for the Raw Preview or the Raw Review next week. What a start to the new era. I was skeptical about the brand split, but WWE, I should really praise you when you do well, because I always criticise you when you don't. A round of applause. 2 great shows. The new era is in gear. We're in front gear. We're in first gear. Well, maybe we're not. Maybe we're in 6th gear. I don't know. What an unbelievable couple of shows. And I have to say, not only is the new era in gear 6, but it is incredible. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. God, did I sound like a retard at the end? I will admit that. I'm excited, okay? I'm an excited wrestling fan for a change. That doesn't happen, so get over yourself.